morning. This is Attorney Karen Jimeno. We'll have a returning congressman and a senator sharing their thoughts on flood control projects and other issues here at the forefront. From steering the wheels of Metro Manila's taxi industry to changing the fuel industry in the past, Congressman Bong Suntay built a name in both business and public service. Known as Superman Suntay of Quezon City's 4th District, he returns to Congress with less than 300 votes more against his controversial opponent. What compels him to return to politics? With us this morning is the representative of the 4th District of Quezon City, Congressman Jesus Manuel Angel Suntay. Good morning, Congressman Bong.
Hi, good morning, Karen. Thanks for inviting me over to your show.
Ang haba pala ng pangalan mo, no? Tapos nickname Bong.
Bong.
Well, Congressman Bong, since the flood control is a very hot topic issue this week, let's start with one. Ramon Ang has already volunteered to help solve the flood control projects. And one of San Miguel Group's suggestion is i-clear up yung mga nakabara daw sa mga ilog para dumaloy ang tubig at hindi magbaha. What are your thoughts to this solution? At kung ganun ba kasimple na tanggalin lang yung mga basura, bakit inaabot tayo ng bilyon-bilyon dun sa pagpondo sa flood control?
Okay. Well, first of all, syempre, it's always a welcome gesture when someone says na, sige, sasagutin ko na yan, papaayos ko na yan. And in fact, more business-oriented people, more taipans should volunteer helping the government clear these things. Pero dun sa proposal kasi ni RSA is he will dredge the major tributaries. Kasi according to his logic, once you widen, once you clean, once you dredge the major tributaries, yung water flow must be bilis, which is okay naman, which is true, which will help. Pero I don't think it's that simple. Kasi bago dumating yung tubig dun sa major tributaries, kagaya sa akin, ang major tributary sa akin is San Juan River, Lagarian Creek, Marikina River Basin. Kailangan yung mga tubig galing sa inland, pumunta rin dun sa major tributaries. Then you would also need the drainage system to bring the waters to the major tributaries. So I don't think it's that simple. And totoo naman, ang nagiging problema rin is yung disiplina, yung basura na tinatapon sa ating mga drainage system, which maliliit na nga yung mga drainage, nababarahan pa ng mga basurang tinatapon. Even the rivers, the creeks natin, lalong lumiliit because of the garbage and the houses which are built on top of it. Now, these are problems, perennial problems, which needs to be resolved, needs political will to do. Now, bakit pa ulit-ulit? When we had the briefing ng DPWH, tinanong ko si Secretary Bunoan, government keeps on spending billions on billions every year, allocating hundreds of millions or even billions of pesos in flood control. Are we following a master plan? Lalo na dito sa Metro Manila, wherein cities are connected to each other. And then sabi ni Secretary, no, we don't have a master plan. We're not following a master plan. So paano yan? That's why we're not solving the problem.
Yeah.
Because we keep on spending money, keep on spending billions, tapos wala naman pala tayong planong sinusunod. So then it will not be solved.
Ever since you had that briefing, meron bang naging resolusyon na magkaroon ng master plan? I find it really odd na wala because even in the 1800s, the Philippines is flood-prone. I mean, just
That's
because
true.
of how we are geographically. So, parang ilang hundreds of years na, wala pa rin tayong master plan.
Totoo. That's why, ang suggestion ko nga, I know it will entail a big amount of money to follow a master plan, especially for Metro Manila. Now, the problem is, every city has a king. Yung mayor, siyempre, kingdom niya yung kanyang city at ang concern niya is with regards to the city only. Ganun rin yung mga congressman. Congressman, ang
Sa district
inaalagaan
nyo lang.
nila, distrito rin nila. So pagka magpa-project sila, it's limited within their district. Kaya ako ang suggestion ko, let's follow a master plan. Then give it to the president. Make it, let it be a flagship project of the president. Then let him come up with a 10-year, a 15-year plan na susundin ng mga succeeding administration. Then we solve and then we're not wasting money.
Yeah.
But until and unless we do such a thing, then we're just wasting money.
Well, in the past, I used to work as undersecretary for the DPWH. May nakita ko master plan, but it was not, as you said, not being implemented as a whole. From what I understand, parang in phases siya supposedly kung masunod because of the cost that it will entail kung madalian siya or isahang pag-implement. But then again, I don't know kung meron pa tayong updated na master plan because, the conditions change over time. So, ano yung magiging solusyon ba dito para magkaroon na tayo once and for all ng master plan?
Well, I think the master plan that you're mentioning is the World Bank funded master plan.
I think
which
there was also a JICA one, yeah.
But that was done
Years ago.
Several years ago, which is no longer updated because of the rapid growth and urbanization of Metro Manila. So, ako, the only way moving forward ng nakikita ko is for the president, or with regards to Metro Manila. Siguro better. In Metro Manila, we have an MMDA. It succeeded yung MMC, Metro Manila Commission before. But before, the MMC had a governor, di ba? Si First Lady Imelda, who had control over what was happening in Metro Manila. Dito, ang daming responsibilities ng MMDA without really having any power. Kasi kailangan mapa-oo mo yung mga different mayors before you can implement projects. Now, they were supposed to, para yung garbage collection, one of their responsibility, pero wala naman silang landfill na ino-operate. So, kanya-kanyang hanap pa rin ng landfill yung mga different cities and municipalities here in Metro Manila. Baka if we have an MMC governor, an overseer, and let him or her implement the drainage master plan, kung overburden na yung presidente, kasi dito sa atin lahat pagka hindi kaya ng local, halayaan na natin yung presidente gumawa, baka we're overburdening him. But someone has to take charge.
What about a flood control czar?
Pwede. Pero yung sa akin, let's give him a bigger responsibility. Let's change MMDA, give it more power, give it more authority, and give it more responsibility and the power to see through yung mga responsibilities na kailangan niyang gawin.
And you think their responsibility when it comes to also managing Metro Manila traffic is not big enough as a...
Sayang naman With the budget given to the MMDA, kung traffic lang ang ima-manage nila, then parang napakaliit. And in fact, dito sa Metro Manila, kita mo na lang yung color coding na lang. Iba-ibang oras sa bawat munisipyo. Merong iba, walang color coding. Meron iba, meron. But all the streets are connected to each other. Di ba?
So to your point, kailangan yung kanilang authority ay ma-strengthen para yung mga mayors mas kayang pasunurin.
Kasi when we talk about flooding also, it also involves garbage collection, garbage dump sites also, di ba? Everything's connected.
And sa palagay mo ba, kulang right now ang coordination ng national government with local governments when it comes to flood control projects?
Well, it's not only kulang. It's yung pasan Sino magagastos nito? Ang city, kung pwede yung national gumastos, hayaan natin yung national gumastos para magamit nila yung pera sa ibang bagay. Parang ganun And if we're not following like what I said, a unified master plan, maaaring iba yung ginagawa ng city sa ginagawa ng national.
Well, yesterday we had Vice Governor Alex Castro of Bulacan because number one, supposedly ang Bulacan sa most
flooding.
number of flood control projects
Yeah.
based on the report,
The report
of
of the
President
President.
Bongbong Marcos.
That's
But
right.
turns out sila rin naman, they're in the top 5 most flood prone. Pero ano yung masasabi mo dun sa comment ni Vice Governor Alex Castro na nung nalaman niya raw na sila ang may pinakamaraming flood control projects, nagulat din siya. And he's already the Vice Governor of the province. So
Hinanap na
parang,
ako na saan.
sabi niya na saan na nga daw. But is that common? Sabi niya parang mas madalas daw it's the congressman na nagkakaroon ng projects. But does that really happen? Na it's the congressman of the district that is able to put in the projects or
Well,
sila yung mas may aware?
It's not really the congressman kasi yung sa amin, the congressman has an LIP, yung local initiative programs. Yan yung talagang initiative ng congressman. And andun yung mga pet projects niya, but that's not really big. Diyan napupunta yung if you want to construct a multipurpose building. Pero pagdating sa road maintenance, sa flood control, more or less, yan, and DP yung nag-decide niyan on what to do. Now, with regards to yung sinabi ni Vice Mayor Castro, ako I agree with him. Kasi sa bilyon-bilyon na ginastos, why do we still have that same problem? At saka, totoo yun, may mga... Ako, sinabi ko na sa DE ko dahil
Sa district engineer mo.
Sa district engineer ko, nung nakita ko na may mga allocations before the flood, sabi ko nga sa kanya, if we're not able to finish, kung hindi din natin kayang tapusin, wag na tayong maglagay ng pera kasi nagsasayang lang tayo ng pera. And it doesn't have to yung sa akin, willing ako i-implement nyo hayaan nyo executive mag-implement or whoever. Basta what I want is, let's not waste money on putting in funding na parang taon-taon nilalagyan nyo, pero hindi natatapos. In fact, nakakaperwisyo pa.
Yeah, and in your district here, actually sakop nyo din yung studio namin. Merong mga areas na binabaha like New Manila.
Yeah.
Actually ako nung
Dumayon
height
lagi.
ng bagyo in last July, na-experience ko po yun. Paalis ako dito and I had to go to a meeting sa may scout area. Nakailang subok kami sa mga ilang daan na baha. So, hindi rin kami makaandar at makadaan. So, in your experience, because you're returning now to your district as congressman, ano yung mga nagiging problema or balakid kung bakit nga hindi masolusyonan yung flood control dito, at least within your district? Anong mga na-identify mong issues?
Ang major tributary ko dito is San Juan River. So, nagkakaroon ng flooding.
Yeah.
So, nagkakaroon ng flooding sa New Manila, sa Barangay Tatalon, sa Doña Imelda, sa Damayan Lagi, sa Barangay Rojas, is because ang tubig na napupunta dyan bumabagsak sa San Juan River. Now, yung San Juan River, makitid na and silted na yung San Juan River. So, it really has to be dredged. It has to be widened kasi may accretion na nangyari, so lumiit na. So, yung carrying capacity ng San Juan River,
talagang kulang na kulang na.
Oo,
But
nabawasan
what
na
would you
talaga.
say? Merong mga congressman nagsasabi, tinanggal daw sa menu of projects ang dredging. And I think in the past, sa amin naman nun sa DPWH, ang rason ay ito yung prone to corruption.
That's true.
Kasi hindi makita yung result, hindi ma-audit na maayos dahil lagi ilalagay dredging pero may kita mo rin yung equipment
That's
nandun pero hindi naman i-dredge talaga. Ikukurakot lang yung pera.
Totoo yan. And I understand kung bakit tinanggal ni Secretary Babe Singson during his time. Nakausap ko, incidentally, 2 weeks ago, I was talking to Congressman Jay Vergara. He was a mayor of Cabanatuan City. Sabi niya sa akin, alam mo Kong, doon sa Cabanatuan, bumili yung city ng amphibious dredgers. Hindi na namin pinapakontrakta yan, yung mga dredging na yan. City na lang ang gumagawa, may tao naman kami. Imbis na magre-renta ka ng dredger, bili na lang yung city, i-operate na lang namin. So ngayon, mas mabilis. Tapos pinakita niya sa akin, may mga drone shot siya everyday. Hanggang ngayon, because from being mayor, congressman na siya, everyday nagre-report pa rin yung kanilang city engineering department kung ano yung ginagawa ng dredger, may timestamp kung anong oras dumating yung
O yan ang
yung dredger.
magandang halimbawa. So bakit hindi na lang gawin yan? Oo, ba't hindi na lang ibaba sa LGU?
Yun nga You know, I think it should be followed by all LGUs. Let the LGUs operate it, di ba? And wag nila ipakontrata because it's true. It's so prone to corruption dahil hindi mo naman talaga nasusukat kung ilang tonelada ang silt, ang basura, ang lupa na dredge. But if the city owns the machinery, the equipment, dami-daming tao ng city. Give them the responsibility to do it. I think that would solve a lot of
what types
problems.
of legislation are you thinking about that might help solve the flooding issue in the country?
First of all, yung sa master plan, I'm going to file a resolution with regards to following a master plan and suggesting that this be implemented not on a per district basis, but on a more national level. It can be. I'll suggest that it be a flagship program of the president, since we don't have an MMC, or maybe empower the MMDA to have the responsibility of seeing it through, considering na yung MMDA is primarily tasked pagdating sa Metro Manila to oversee this project, but the funding, it has to have a fixed funding, di ba? May master plan, estimate natin magkano aabutin. Let's allocate the funding.
Yeah, at least nandun siya sa master plan. What is your comment nga nung napansin ni President Bongbong Marcos, na yung mga flood control projects in the past, uniform amounts done, like 150 million, and rounded off numbers.
That's true.
But
wala pang specific description.
Yeah, exactly.
Kung
But
anong
you sat
gagawin.
in Congress, and it's Congress, of course, upper and lower house that legislates yung budget. Bakit nga ganun? Naka-rounded off siya. And if it's based supposedly on, an itemized description of the project, then you would expect variances.
That's true. That's true. Ako rin, I noticed that na pare-pareho, lalo na pag flood control, makikita mo, it's either lalagay nila 49 million or 100 million. And pare-pareho. And then they cut it down to phases. Phase 1, Phase 2, Phase 3, Phase 2. May iba nga umaabot ng Phase 26, 20. And nung tinanong ko yun, bakit ganyan? Kasi there's not enough money to finish it raw. Kaya they're doing it in phases. So, bakit parehong amount? Hindi ba nagkakaiba-iba
So, napuno
yan?
mo na pala dati yan.
Based on ano?
Yeah.
Well, it's... but those estimates and those yung mga engineering plans are done by the DP.
Yeah,
It's
by
not,
DPWH, yeah.
So it's nakakapagtaka lang. But hindi naman natin nilalahat. But there are areas na nakikita mo kung ano talaga yung ginagawa. But there are also, I'm sure, meron rin mga lugar dyan na makikita mo, may funding, nagamit yung funding, pero hindi mo makita kung ano yung...
Nasaan yung project.
Nasaan yung project. Madaming ganyan.
Well, kahapon sinabi ng Congress na isasagawa nila ang sarili nilang investigation regarding sa mga congressmen na link sa 15 major contractors ng flood control projects. Anong klaseng investigation ang gagawin?
Pagdating sa investigation, I think it should be an independent investigator. Di ba? Parang, pagka mag-iimbestiga, congressman rin, baka walang mangyari dyan dahil magkakasama yan So, baka better to get someone from the outside. In fact, that's the reason we have COA.
Yeah.
To audit the project. Why not ask
It's a
COA
good thing you mentioned that because yun din naman yung tanong na iba. Sabi nila, kung meron mga hindi na-implement, di ba trabaho yun ng COA na dapat na-audit yan? So bakit nga hindi na-audit?
Alam mo, ang problema rin sa COA, it's post-audit Dapat yung COA pumapasok pre-audit bago gawin yung project. Tingnan, magkano ba aabutin itong proyektong ito, 'di ba? Tama ba according to yung plano? Tama ba yung Hindi ba overpriced yung ginagamit? Dapat bago simulan yung proyekto, ino-audit na muna, nagkakaroon ng pre-audit. Pero post-audit na tayo eh. Ano nangyayari? Pagka sinabi, bakit itong building na ito, itong multipurpose na ito, bakit ito umabot ng 225 million? Poposte lang yung nakatayo. Hindi, nasa ilalim ng lupa eh. So hindi na makita ngayon ng COA auditor kasi sinabi, na nag-boring kami dyan, yung pundasyon kasi malambot, kaya hindi na ngayon ma-audit. So anong sasabihin ng auditor? Sige na nga.
But see, these are weaknesses in our systems of government that I think needs to be addressed.
I know. And what's important is current accountability. Ang rason why corruption is becoming more brazen is because there's no accountability. Wala kasing nakukulong eh. Walang nakakasuhan eh. Kung may nakasuhan man, hindi naman nakukulong. After a while,
well, eto ngayon, medyo na-capture na yung attention ng buong bansa and even the President has launched his Isumbong Mo sa Pangulo website. Palagay mo ba this time meron ng finally mananagot?
Well, I hope so. I hope so. And it's a positive step forward. And ako, I believe government officials should be held accountable in everything that they do. I also believe that the people, mga tao, mga Filipinos, also have a responsibility to hold these government officials, both elected and appointed, accountable. Sana bantayan din natin yung mga politiko.
Well, before, there was really a lack of information. Kaya nga, kahit siguro ako, when I saw the President's report, nagulat ako na, ganun pala kadami ang flood control projects at ganyan pala kalaki ang ginagastos natin. So, it's good that meron na ngayon at least information. That's a good starting point.
You know, Karen, several years ago, there was a legislation made na dapat pagka merong both national or local infrastructure project, ilalagay dyan kung magkano kung ano yung project description, kung magkano aabutin, kung sino yung gagawa, kung gaano katagal gagawin. That's supposed to provide information sa mga tao na kung ano yung project. At para yung tao would be made aware na, uy, babantayan ko ito. And up to now naman, nilalagay pa rin yan. But people, yung mga tao, they have to be more proactive and conscious. Tignan naman nila, pagka nakalagay dyan sa billboard natin, uy, 70 million, isang iskinita lang ang gagawin na. Bakit aabutin? Di ba?
Pero palagay mo ba, it's practical to expect the people to complain when it comes to knowing where to report it at papakinggan ba talaga sila?
Well, let's make it easier for the people to complain. And feeling ko, the media, both mainstream and social media, we all have a responsibility to bring this out in the open. Dahil dito sa atin, alam mo, pagka napag-usapan na, madami nang sasakay dyan. Then mas dadami yung mag-uusap. Yun yung nagiging problema. But look at in other countries, people complain. Sa Amerika lang, if they see something wrong, ordinary people starts complaining. And it becomes big. And then action is taken because people complain.
Well, ano ang masasabi mo? Merong suggestion na out of delicadeza, dapat ay yung mga congressman daw na involved sa anomalous flood control projects ay kusang mag-resign. What's your comment on that?
They should, pero kung gagawin nila, that's another thing. Parang hindi uso sa atin yun. Di ba? Parang hindi uso sa atin. But they should. Out of delicadeza, they should. Pero sadly,
you don't see that happening, no?
the reason why it's also not happening is because they're not held accountable. Parang dati-rati naalala ko, pagka elected official ka, nahihiya kang ipakita pag maganda yung auto mo, pag maganda yung relos mo, pag maganda yung mga gamit mo. Gusto mo ipakita sa constituent mo, parang kunyari, sira yung auto, luma yung auto mo para hindi iniisip na, uy, baka corrupt ito. Pero ngayon, hindi eh.
Oo nga.
Everyone is flaunting it. Why? Because it's accepted by the people. They're not held accountable. Kasi bakit? Ito, politiko lang to. Wala naman ibang hanap buhay ito. Bakit niya na-afford yan? Walang nagtatanong na gano'n eh. Parang okay lang eh. So I think society also.
Yeah. This actually reminds
a
me,
good
there
role.
is even a provision in the law that makes it unacceptable for what they call, I think the word is blatant display of wealth.
wealth, yeah.
Especially in times of calamities.
That's
And
true, that's
nasa,
true.
nasa batas natin yan.
Oo.
Pero sana nga, tama ka, yung delikadesa. And going back to Vice Governor Alex Castro of Bulacan, sinabi niya na dumadaan sa congressmen. So sabi niya, hindi dumadaan sa mga LGUs ang flood control projects, kundi sa DPWH at congressmen. But based on what you see sa practice, di ba dapat implementing talaga is DPWH and walang kinalaman dapat dyan ang mga congressmen. But you come from Congress. Ano bang nakikita mo? Nakikialam ba talaga
Alam
ang
mo,
mga congressmen?
The role that Congress plays is because it has the power of the purse. It pushes for the approval of budgets of agencies. Sometimes nagkakaroon ng parochial concern. Titignan ng congressman, uy, dito ba sa distrito ko yung aking pet projects naisama ba? But overall, with regards to yung budget preparation, kung ano yung budget ng different agency, the members of Congress, both the House and the Senate, they don't play a role. Except kung nagkakaroon ng insertion. Dahil pag insertion, kung wala na sa NEP at napunta sa GAA, ibig sabihin hindi na yung agency yung nag-propose.
Yes, which is the controversy for the 2025 budget na marami daw insertions
Ayan.
by Congress. So, anong ginagawa ngayon ng Congress to make sure na hindi na ito mangyari sa 2026
Now,
budget? And that's so relevant kasi kakalabas lang ng National Expenditure Program or NEP ng government natin. So ngayon makikita natin how this year, Congress will manage the budget process.
Now, Speaker Martin announced that the budget process will be transparent. It will be open to the public. And ang sinabi pa niya, even sa BICAM, the BICAM will be open to the public.
What does that mean? Televised siya? Yung meron siyang...
I guess televised or at
Yung
merong
live streaming?
merong parang NGO who can sit during the budget process deliberation so that they could see for themselves kung ano nangyayari, kung nagkakaroon ng insertions or whatever.
Well, I like that idea. So, sana matuloy.
It
And
should. Oo.
in a Bilyonaryo.com article last week, Senator Erwin Tulfo was quoted as saying, the palace wants only the DPWH to manage the flood control budget. No politician, senator, or congressman would be allowed to request funding for their districts. What is your comment on that?
Okay, alam mo, with regards to yung sa major tributaries, tama yun. Let DPWH follow it. Now, if DPWH has a master plan nga, then wala nang role dapat talaga yung
So
congressman.
ngayon,
But wala
nangyayari
eh.
talaga yan na ang request for funding for flood control projects also comes from congressmen.
Not the flood control. Kasi ang maari lang namin iparating, for example, may kalsadang nagbabaha. Then susulatan namin yung DPWH. Please, itong kalsada ito, yung Betty Belmonte, tuwing umuulan na lang nagbabaha. Make sure na ma-check, ma-upgrade yung drainage dito or what. Yan, susulat namin. And then we hope na maisama yan dun sa gagawing programa ng DPWH. But with regards to, for example, yung mga flood control projects, kagaya ng mga sheet pile na nilalagay sa mga major tributaries, wala naman papel ang congressman dyan eh. Hindi ang congressman ang nagsasabi, oy, lagyan natin, simentohin natin yung magkabilang side ng nung creek namin dyan ha. Because the one that determines the project is DPWH. Yung parochial concerns, yung mga flooding in some inner roads, yan, I would agree and I would admit na, congressman, sinasabi yan, paayos yan, isama nyo yan. Pagka may sirang mga kalsada in the road, oy, sama nyo yan dyan sa mga papasimentohan nyo, make sure na nandyan. So, with regards to that, but with the whole budget preparation process, I don't think naman na, minsan, I think it's unfair to both some congressmen and some senators na pagka sinabing korupsyon sa infra, ay, corrupt yung mga yan. Because not everyone naman.
So you think it's fair to request for funding for districts as long as talagang it addresses a concern and hindi nakikialam sa implementation?
Oo.
Okay, and you suggested earlier na dapat independent body ang mag-investigate kasi pag sa Congress ito, parang hindi appropriate kasi magkakakilala rin sila. So, anong idea ang naiisip mo? What would be an effective investigating committee?
Ako, first, maybe a panel should be placed. Yung put the COA chairperson or someone from COA na magano diyan. Then let's in fact, madaming mga private independent mga appraisers who could go over yung appraise yung mga project cost. Yung mga independent appraiser na yan, let's from a reputable company, lagay natin as a representative, let's put up a task force na that will investigate. Kasi dito sa atin, parang lahat ng tao alam kung ano nangyayari. Gobyerno lang ang walang idea.
Or pikit mata ba?
Di ba?
So may maasahan ba kami mangyayari dito sa isasagawang investigation ng Congress?
I want the administration of the president to succeed, and I want to see him follow through with what he said dun sa SONA. Para may mangyari yan, the direction should also come from the president. Pagka nakita nung dito sa both the Congress and the Senate that the president means business, then even the public in general would push both houses to really do something about what's happening.
And what's the mood now inside Congress? Do you see that the congressmen, congresswomen are taking this heed of the president seriously?
Well, I'm sure, yes. Especially if the president starts naming names. Kasi parang bitin, sabi ko, nung sinabi niya yung mga pangalan ng kumpanya, madali na rin sabihin kung sino may-ari. Sana sinama naman rin.
Tama ka. What's your comment? Because one of the media reporters there asked na meron na ba kayong nakita na sino dyan ang mga may link sa mga politiko? And ang sinabi niya, wala na bang investigative journalism? So parang nakita ko tuloy sa mga comments sa social media, bakit yung mga journalists pa ang binigyan ng trabaho, dapat alam nyo yan? Or bakit dapat ibubunyag nyo yan?
Ako, mas siguro magiging appropriate o mas maganda kung dahil binigay mo na yung pangalan, then sabihin mo kung sino may link, then have that, ang challenge mo ngayon sa investigative mga journalists, tulungan nyo ako to gather evidence against these people or to prove that there is really a link. Then that would have been nicer.
Well, thank you so much, Congressman Bong Suntay. It was a pleasure to hear your thoughts on flood control. We hope to have you back here on other issues.
Thank you very much, Karen. Thank you very much for inviting me. At siyempre, to all your viewers and listeners, magandang araw po sa inyo lahat.
Senator JV Ejercito delivers a powerful condemnation of those involved in alleged ghost projects, especially for flood control, calling their actions outright betrayal to the public. We'll be back with Senator JV after we take a short break. At the Forefront, we'll be right back.
Time is money, and opportunities never wait. How would you describe the landscape now?
You can see the creativity of many people.
So join us as we inform and enlighten to help you make sound business decisions. The government's efforts to attract foreign investors in
micro, small, and medium enterprises.
This is your daily business brief, 3:30 to 4 p.m. Only here on the Bilyonaryo News Channel.
Welcome back at the Forefront. Joining us this morning is Senator JV Ejercito. Good morning, Senator JV.
Good morning, Atty. Karen. Good morning to all the televiewers of Bilyonaryo.
Well, now we'll hear from you as a senator. Kanina we heard from the House.
Yes.
So, what is your take on this recent controversy on flood control projects? And you've been in Senate for quite some time now. Bakit ba nahihirapan na i-monitor or ipigilin ang corruption sa flood control?
You know, flood control is the easiest kasi, no, if you want to do something that you want to hide something, yun yung mga hindi nakikita no? These are, imagine Karen, we have a 350 billion budget for flood control every year. That's almost 1 billion a day. So
nga, no, if you put it that way, you're right.
So imagine 1 billion a day, and it seems that the flood control, flooding has been a perennial problem, especially for Central Luzon, Pampanga, Bulacan, and Metro Manila, parts of Metro Manila. Every year, we've been conducting hearings every year, paulit-ulit na lang, issues, but, you know, we cannot fight nature, no? Global warming and all, but, you know, flood control means yung water should be should be siphoned out the earliest possible time, no? Yun naman ang ng flood control what I see, Atty. Karen, is that what we need really to address the problems of this in Central Luzon and Metro Manila and the flood-prone areas are big infrastructure projects for flood control. Ito po yung floodways, spillways, water impounding, and pumping stations in strategic areas. And to use the words of Congressman Bong earlier, we should stick to the master plan. Pag may master plan, sundin natin. And
Pero wala pa daw master plan.
I think there is. I think there is a master plan. What the problem is
Na-updated na ba? Because the ones I saw in the past with the PWH was years ago.
Years ago. But I think there is, no? But what I think is happening is that everybody wants a piece of the budget of the flood control. So kumbaga, all the districts want a piece of it, no? Kailangan lahat sila may flood control projects. Ang nangyayari, yung what is supposed to be done for Central Luzon, Pampanga, Bulacan, Metro Manila, which I mentioned, yung mga spillways, floodways, isn't happening. No? It's broken down into slow protection, drainage improvement, yung mga river banks. So this will not solve the flooding problem.
Well, Senator JV, when you mentioned the types of flood control projects that you see always in the budget, appearing the budget constantly, may punto ka dun na medyo outdated yung mga pinopropose when in fact we live in a period now na napaka-high-tech na ng mga available technologies in countries like Singapore. Hindi sila binabaha and they have this type of drainage na talagang pumupunta sa ilalim yung tubig automatically.
Water impounding.
Sa ilalim ng highways nila. So never silang binabaha. Bakit nga tayo, hindi natin pwedeng upgrade na gano'n? Na talagang wala na, para iba kasi pag national. And can we, maybe, have you explored PPP na lang para hindi na kukurakot?
Well, I think, Karen, if only we will stick to pag national project sana, no? For flood control, it should be considered as a national project. And dapat sana wag na makialam yung mga districts or LGU, but more on districts. As I mentioned earlier, all the districts wants a piece of the pie.
Which
of
means
the
pag
flood
sinabi
control.
mong district, it's the Congress.
Yes, Congress
people,
or district engineer or
so
district
kasama rin sa DPWH.
So before, when you say national projects, dapat walang ang district no? Dapat wala silang pakialam. And what's happening is that everybody wants a piece of the flood control project. If you look at the list of the top 10 flood-prone provinces and you look at that list of the top 10 provinces which got the most flood control projects.
Hindi nagtutugma.
Diba?
And meron
so
mga nasa
simple.
listahan na malaking nakuha like Bicol na wala naman dun sa top 10.
Flood prone.
Sa flood prone.
So parang dun pa lang, kitang-kita na natin na may problema. Supposedly, it's common sense tells you na pag flood-prone provinces, flood-prone provinces na top 10, dapat sana the bulk of the flood control budget should go to this and project should go to this top 10 flood-prone provinces. So may disconnect kaagad So there really, I think Every year we scrutinize DPWH. They will just say yes, oo. Like I'll give an example, Karen, if you don't mind. Ito it may sound parokyal, Attorney Karen, no? It may sound local or parokyal, pero doon sa amin,
Sa San Juan.
San Juan, when I was mayor, I was congressman, we also have flood-prone barangays, mga 6 beside the San Juan River. So, sabay kami ni Mayor Toby Tiangco, no? Navotas is a low-lying area. It's below sea level, always underwater. Pero Toby Tiangco, as mayor din, was able to put in strategic areas, mga pumping stations. And the flooding was solved in Navotas, no? So, ginaya namin yon. We put pumping stations in strategic areas. Isa na lang yung kulang. In Barangay San Perfecto and Barangay Batis, which I have been trying to, ito talagang, it's not bad to ng insertion or congressional intervention. Wag lang may post-enactment, no? I've been trying every budget, o si Secretary, last time pa, si Secretary Bonoan, umuo na ilang beses, yung mga USEC, di ba, before the budget is approved, to undertake the one pumping station so that kawawa kasi yung this barangay, Karen, if I may photo sana, no? Even now, it's still underwater kahit 1 week na. Kasi
So up to now,
up to
ngayong
now.
nag-uusap tayo,
Yes.
nasa baha pa rin sila.
Yeah, even if it rains hard, mga 1 week, 2 weeks,
Oh, ito
kawawa.
po ba yung area na yun? Okay.
So until
So
now,
ngayon pa yan,
ganyan.
Oo.
So sa akin nga, sabi ko, I want to see kung si Secretary Boron in the USEC, sabi ko, tayo, nasa opisina lang tayo mga opisyal. Pero yung mga nabahaan, kawawa. Sasakyan, cars, motorcycles, refrigerators, appliances, kayamanan nila nauubos. Taon-taon ganyan. And what happens is, they will commit, and then, after bycam and everything, the congressman sa district, they will write na errata. Meaning, they will change the order from the pumping station into slow protection, into drainage improvement. Sinimulan to kay Congressman Ronnie Zamora pa. And then, sumunod si Congresswoman Bel Zamora. Kasi nga, merong political. Si Mayor Francis Zamora said na basta project ng Ejercito Estrada, hindi pa papasukin. Pero you can see, as you can see on the screen, sino po ang kawawa? Kami ba? Hindi po. Ang kawawa, yung pong nababaha. So I'm hoping this time, if this happens in San Juan, in the heart of Metro Manila, na iniirata yun, supposedly what is intended to solve the flooding problem, it happens also in other provinces.
And then, swerte na nga ang San Juan that you are in Senate and you are
Yes.
able to bring this up. But what more with the other areas na wala silang
Yes,
tao
that's
na
it.
nasa Senate na ganun
Exactly.
kataas, no? But to Senator JV, mapunta naman tayo dun sa mga contractors na potentially or allegedly are involved. Kasi si Mayor Vico Soto said na 9 na kumpanya ng mga diskaya ang may hawak sa ilang mga flood control projects na either non-functional or causes flooding or non-existent.
Wow.
Tapos si
That's
Mayor
really-
Raisa Treñas ng Iloilo, sinabi na maging sa kanila, may mga ghost or non-functioning flood control projects ang mga
And I heard
kumpanya ng
also,
Diskaya.
Attorney Karen, I also read earlier si Governor Daniel Fernando, no, of Bulacan said, with that much amount, hindi rin na-feel na o nakikita.
Oo, we had his
Yeah.
Vice Governor, si Alex Castro,
Alex
also
Castro.
said, nagulat sila, bakit kami number 1? Meron palang area sa kanila hanggang dibdib yung baha. Kahit daw hindi umulan, binabaha sila. So, what is your comment on this? Especially ngayon na nininame na yung mga diskaya. Magkakaroon ba ng inquiry ang Senate about
Well,
this?
sana nga, sinabi ni Bong Suntay, sana tinuloy na ni Presidente kanina lahat, pinangalanan na lahat no? Aside from the contractors, kung sino yung mga connection nila. Sa akin, Karen, I look at it this way. We allow contractors to make money, no, or profit, kasi that's business. Pero for them to engage in overpricing, to engage in ghost projects, especially, as I mentioned earlier, they have a special place in hell already. Ano na to? Impierno levels na. Wala nang, hindi naman tayo santo, pero wag naman tayong demonyo. I mean, kumita ka na, lolokohin mo pa, and you're putting the lives of people at risk. And people are in flood-prone areas have miserable lives because
Oo,
of the...
and imagine,
nakita
walang
niyo naman yung
kuryente
kanina.
yan kung ganyan
Oo,
kagrabe
nakita
yung
niyo
baha,
sa amin,
lalo na
sa San Juan,
hanggang-
ganun.
Oo.
Sa Bulacan, it happens. So, ano na to wala nang konsyensya, no? Yun lang masasabi ko. Again, for contractors, sabi ko nga, we allow profit. Kailangan naman kumita kayo, negosyan, pero i-deliver nyo yung tama. But this time, as you mentioned, may ghost project pa na, wow, kumulekta ka, tas wala kang ginawa. Talagang dapat sa impyerno na mapunta yan.
Well, kung may mga nagsasalita na like Mayor Vico Soto or Mayor Raisa Trenas,
Mayor Benji Magalong.
si Mayor Benji
Yeah,
also
he's
has
been very...
spoken up. Ibig sabihin, meron siguro silang pinanggagalingan na ebidensya. Meron na bang usapan within the legislative kung tutuluyan ninyo yung inquiry about this, or meron bang worry na baka may mga madawit on your ranks?
I'm quite confident. Kasi naging contract, I don't think there is. So I don't know of any senator who is also a
It's like
yeah.
how the moral or credibility hold
Well, I
this
think
investigation.
Senator
Kasi si
Lacson-
Kong Bong Suntay said, parang hindi ata ang angkop daw na Congress ang mag-investigate. Pero Senate, you think kaya?
I think Senator Lacson already mentioned, and Senator Lacson, from what you know, has been consistent about this. No, na,
He's really anti-pork
yes,
barrel.
he has been
has
for
never
anti-pork
used
barrel,
this pork.
anti-PDAF ever since. So I think he already mentioned that he will be coming up with an expose or a privilege speech either today or next week. So we just wait for it. No? Siguro siya na lang ang mas I think he has more credibility than anybody among the senators kasi talagang it has been his battle cry, against pork barrel and advocacy to fight it.
Well, Senator Cheese Escudero yesterday had a press conference addressing ng mga binabato sa kanya na potential issues on flood control projects, and yung link niya supposedly with one of the contractors that donated to his campaign. What's your comment on that?
Atty. Karen, first of all, yung not to defend our Senate President, but the sad part is that, I think there's an operation really to discredit, to destroy the Senate and the leadership, which started nung kay Senate President Mig Zubiri pa Until now, parang naging continuous Hindi na natapos yung conflict ng House and the Senate, which started with the People's Initiative. I'm hoping that I'm appealing to our colleagues that it doesn't give a good signal, especially abroad, when we're enticing foreign investments. We need to show consistency in policies, yung infra nandyan, and of course, dapat may political stability. And right now, Karen, I just have to tell you that, of course, our President and Vice President are not really in good terms. No? Our top two positions. House and Senate are also not in good terms. So
they're not in good terms.
Well,
Because yesterday,
because of these things.
I watched the press conference of Senate President Cheese Escudero, and he
Yes.
said it's a demolition job against him. And nung tinanong siya kung sino, sabi niya, edi yung mga merong hindi na masaya
Hindi, kasi
dun sa nangyari sa impeachment. So, sabi tinanong sa kanya, sino po? Pero parang ang implication is mambabata. So, ang hula ng iba Congress, they're not in good terms ba? Congress
going
and Senate.
back yung kay SP Migs pa, nung it was Mig Zubiri as Senate President, the House would have regular press cons hitting the senators. So sa akin, we should I hope there will be a truce already. No? Kasi it doesn't paint a good picture for foreign investments. Napag-iwanan na tayo ng mga ASEAN neighbors natin. They're doing all the right things, putting the necessary infrastructure, energy, the right policies, and then political stability. Tapos tayo, nag-aaway na nga yung number 1 and number 2. Tapos tayo sa Kongreso, Senate and House, mag-aaway pa tayo. So, yun lang, I'm hoping that there will be an end to this, no? Instead of us looking for ways on how to solve the energy problems, the infrastructure problems, and the agri problem, dapat pagtulungan natin to instead of us, bickering and fighting one another.
And now that we are really facing this flood issue, and nandun pa tayo sa tag-ulang season. So, now we've had this respite from rains, pero aasahan natin yan, nadadating na naman. So, andyan pa yung problema ng baha. So, what,
It's every year,
oo,
Karen.
ano po yung naiisip ngayon muna, pansamantala, na solusyon ng Senate para may magawa naman?
I'm hoping, Karen, that, stick to the master plan. If there is already, I'm sure there is already, no? Kahit outdated, at least stick to the master plan. Again, what we need are big ticket infrastructure flood mitigation projects, no? As I mentioned earlier, again, floodways, spillways, water impounding, and strategic pumping stations. That's what we need. Hindi natin kailangan ng slow protection, riverbank protection, at drainage improvement. Marami na tayo nun.
Oo nga, mag-upgrade naman tayo dun sa mga na ginagamit na sa ibang bansa,
exactly.
di ba?
Yes. As you mentioned, I'm happy that you noticed, no, na may water impounding and then pumping stations and floodways. That's what is really needed.
So, Senator JV, you're one of the strong advocates for improving the infrastructure in the Philippines. Ano po yung mensahe nyo sa mga congressmen na maaaring sangkot dito sa mga anomalya sa flood control projects?
Well, sa akin po, sana pag national project, be it infrastructure, railways, highways, flood mitigation projects, let us leave it for with the national, no? Yung dati po pag district yan, naalala ko nung I was still in Congress, doon lang kami sa mga roads, no? Yung mga inner roads. Pero pag national projects, we don't touch it, no? So that if we really would want to solve flooding, let us stick to the master plan. If we want to continue or be able to finish our infrastructure, mga highways, mga railway system, hayaan natin i-prioritize that and leave it to the national level.
But when you say na yung mga district roads ay nakikialam or merong intervention ng mga congressmen, ano yun? Does that mean na nakakailam sila sa mga even with the contractors?
Well, Karen, I don't think insertion is bad as long as it's indicated in the BICAM, of course in the National Expenditure Program nandun na, but sometimes may mga request and you see talk to LGU, may talaga request sila, and if it's really needed, it's not bad, no? Ako yung aming institutional amendments, no? Yan po insertion din, as long as there is no post enactment intervention. Dapat pag nandun na, wala na tayong pakialam. Who gets the bidding, who gets the projects, sa bidding, and the post enactment activities, dapat wala na tayong pakialam doon.
And finally, sabi po ni Kong Bong Suntay, nagsabi na si Speaker Martin that they will make the budget process available to the public. Since magsa-start na ang budget process, will Senate do the same?
Yes, in fact, we are about to pass the Senate concurrent resolution regarding open, ito pong transparency and to make all the, which includes yung opening all the hearings, including BICAMs and other committee hearings to the public.
Okay. Thank you so much, Senator JV Ejercito. And we hope to continue to get updates from you sa mga nangyayari na po sa Senate.
Thank you. Thank you, Atty. Karen.
Both Senator JV Ejercito and Congressman Bong Suntay stand united in condemning corruption in critical flood control projects meant to protect vulnerable communities. Their voices call for urgent accountability and systemic reforms to end the cycle of deceit and neglect that endangers lives and livelihoods. Be timely informed, be insightful of the news. Always stay at the forefront. Join us again tomorrow for meaningful conversations in today's hottest headlines. This is Atty. Karen Jimeno. Thank you for spending your hour with us.